Shelley Marie, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about the ReBornFX Matting Powder that MacPhersonCrafts has come out with. And this powder, it has a very, very matte, smooth finish when you add it to any of your paints or your sealer or even to your varnishes. And I'm going to show you how I do that. So what I do is basically, I have a 4-ounce jar here. I'm going to open it up. And I make myself a mixture first, what I call a mixture paste. And what I do is I add 1 part of the powder. So I'm going to get 1 level spoonful of this. And then I'm going to add 2 parts, or 2 spoonfuls of distilled water here. And I'm going to add it into my jar. This jar also has a lid. There we go. And then I'm going to take a brush and I'm going to stir it. The reason why I take the brush, I'm just going to put my lid on here so the dust doesn't fly around. That powder is very, very fine. And I'm going to stir it with my brush because it helps break up any of the lumps that may form from putting it into the distilled water. So I'll give it a stir. And once I feel that it's wetted down, I will put the lid on. Make this easier. I could be sitting here stirring all day, and this just makes it faster. So I'll give it a really, really good shake, and it breaks down all the lumps that may form. And that's very important. You want to get rid of those lumps. If you happen to have any lumps that go into your paints or varnishes, it could add some spotting there, which is just the powder that hasn't been dissolved into your water bases here. This is a mineral. This is not an organic material, so it will not break down, and it is archival. So now you can see I have what I call my solution here. And I will label my, my mixture here, and I'm ready to mix it to anything I so choose. I have mixed it in before with, first of all, the Genesis Red that comes in the ReBornFX paints, I find had a bit of a sheen to it, and as you can see if I move that around, this is the part that was done with just the paint, and then when I added a little bit of the solution to my paint, then I found it matted it right down. So that is an option, or some people don't mind the sheen and they just paint through and then matte down at the very end. That's a total choice to you. The other thing I also did is I took another brand of paint, which is really quite amazing. And the brand I took this time was a Liquitex. And the Liquitex, of course, had a very good sheen on it as well. And when I added the matting powder, as you can see, the sheen went away and it has matted down that paint, ready to be used for reborning. So those are 2 really good advantages to it. I have also used it in my sealer. I put in a tablespoon of this into a 4-ounce jar, and now my sealer is all mixed in there and I'm ready to seal, and it will have a very, very matte finish as well. Can go into the 2-in-1 powder, 2-in-1, sorry, coat. This is our 2-in-1 final coat from ReBornFX, and sometimes the 2-in-1 will leave you just a touch of a sheen at the end. Some people like it and some people don't, so when you added it, a little bit of the powder mixture in there, it matted it right down as well, and that could be your final coat as indicated if you want a more matte finish. So this powder is very, very versatile. So what I'm going to do is take the ReBornFX Warm Wash here, and I know it has a little bit of a sheen as well, and with all these washes, of course, you have to give them a good shake. And I'm going to add 1 part of the paint. Okay. And to that, I'm going to add about a half of this spoonful of the matting liquid that I mixed up, and I'll mix that in. I'm going to close my lid here so we don't evaporate all the water. Now once that's in there, I'm going to give it a stir with my brush, and now it is basically ready for painting. And I Just paint the normal way I do once it's stirred in there. Put on your application and just pounce away. And you can even see that as it goes on. I'm going to hope this dries quickly for you on the video. And I'll just put this brush down here and see if I can just give it a little bit of an air dry, and then I'll come back and show you how it's matted down. Okay, so I'm back and I did some air dry, and on this side here it is completely smooth and silky, and you can see that there's very little, if any, sheen there. I did a little bit of the ReBornFX warm wash without the matting powder in it, and you can see that there is just a slight gloss in there. Not a lot, but enough that it might disturb some people. And then by adding that matting fluid onto there, with the powder, then I was able to get rid of most of that sheen in there, as you can see. So the powders are very versatile, and I love them to death as I've been experimenting with them. I think the only thing you need to know is if you don't mix it well with your water, you will get those little dots in your drying process, and if that happens, just take some water and slightly rub it over top, and it should get rid of the dots quite quickly. And if you don't stir your paint, like I showed you before, yeah, I put some of the liquid in there, and then always give it a stir before you go to put it on to your sponge. And that's because the matting powder and minerals will sink to the bottom because they're heavier than the rest of the paints are, and it ensures that it gets stirred back into your paints, especially if they've been sitting for a while. So those are two little tips I'd like you to remember, and if you happen to purchase this, I think you'll be very happy with it. As I said, I found many things I've been putting it into. I've even put it into the varnish, although MacPherson's does sell the ultra matte varnish now, and it is a thicker liquid. If you add this to the varnishes that are from the ReBornFX line, you will get it just a little bit thinner because you're adding water to the varnish from adding it in with your mixture. And I would suggest, if you do that, to put at least 2 coats on for your last coat, whereas if you do get the pre-mixed stuff from MacPherson's, it's a little thicker and you don't have to put 2 coats on. So once I have this jar all the mixture is all in there, I will make sure I put a label on my lid, and I will then just give it a shake and mix it to whatever I wish to matte down for color. So have fun with this, and I think you'll be very pleased.